When the light around you lessens and your thoughts darken until your body feels fear turn cold as stone inside.
The fear of failure, I was not going to fail.
You just kind of lose your way and you need a little help and a little direction.
When you find yourself bereft of any belief in yourself, and all you unknowingly leaned on has fallen.
Because I'm supposed to learn something, and what is it that I'm supposed to learn from that?
A lot of times I would call on my mom to give me courage and strength.
It was probably one of the hardest things I've ever done, but I would do it again in a heartbeat.
When one voice commands your whole heart and it's raven dark, steady yourself.
It's not an easy Sunday hike. No, it's a challenge, and that surprised me.
I was really angry that I had to deal with something like this again.
And see that it is your own thinking that darkens your world. Search and you will find a diamond thought of light.
I don't think I would have completed this had I been with any other group.
Know that you are not alone, and that this darkness has purpose. Gradually it will school your eyes to find the one gift your life requires hidden within this night corner. Invoke the learning of every suffering you have suffered. Close your eyes. This trip to Tibet has been in the making for probably 8 years. Many of the journeys that we take, we summit a mountain. Mount Kailash, no one has ever summited Mount Kailash because it is so sacred. We began the journey on foot at about 10,000 feet. So we had a series of flights from Kathmandu to way southwest Nepal to way northwest Nepal.
When we got to Simicot, someone, probably Dr. Deming,
For us to do this little trek the first day,
says, let's do a practice trek up this mountain.
come back down to sleep, and then do it again the next day.
By the time we had climbed that mountain that first afternoon, I knew that this was going to be an experience. It was going to be difficult. I was diagnosed in November of 17. My brother was diagnosed after I was. His was much more difficult. I really didn't know what to expect. I just decided I was going to do it. There wasn't anything going to stop me. It wasn't going to be schedules. It wasn't going to be weather. It wasn't going to be anything.
I had found a lump in my left breast. I told my husband when I got back from California that this is what I had found, and he said, well, let's get you in to the doctor right away. Great choice. I had stage 3C breast cancer. I just had my last surgery in October of 2018. I always thought this is a journey that I'm supposed to go on for whatever reason, and cancer's a scary journey. It was this experience that brought me so much more than I ever expected that it would. This is where I have to prove to my daughters that that I can get through this, and if this is something that comes up in their life, that I can be a good testament to getting through it, and that it's not the end of the road.
Perhaps the cancer makes you draw from as deep as you can within yourself to deal with whatever you have to deal with, whether it's cancer, loss of a spouse, Dick's fall. I mean, it makes you dig deeper than any success you'll ever have.
I will never be able to separate this journey from my accident and the way that it made me feel connected to all of the cancer survivors. On July 7th, I was in in a bad bicycle accident. Ended up with a concussion, was unconscious. I shattered my clavicle, I broke my shoulder blade, I broke 10 ribs, and the journey started 6 weeks after my accident. Every one of the other trips, I didn't have any self-doubt or anxiety or concern about was I going to be able to physically make it to the top. This trip, I did not know.
The first 5 days, the trekking in Nepal, were my favorite.
I didn't realize the intensity of the hike to Tibet through the Himalayan mountains, which is good. I didn't know that ahead of time.
It was also beautiful and magical at the same time.
I had breast cancer 3 years ago, January. Got the diagnosis, had surgery, chemo. I was a little scared, but I just knew everything was going to be okay. A friend of mine was diagnosed with pancreatic cancer the same week. She was very, very positive throughout all of it and strong, and I tried not to complain because I didn't feel like I could. Jen's journey is much harder than yours, so don't even whine about it. Whether that was right or wrong, that's how I felt. And then she did not make it. I did, and had a lot of guilt.
So I've gone through cancer twice. When I got the second cancer, I was really angry. To get through things, you need to lean into them. And so I would just try and allow myself to feel what I felt. It's not going to come in a bolt of lightning as this is the answer to what you need to do with this gift of life. I can't think of anything more powerful to feel alive than trekking on these trails that we did the last 5 days. More than ever, feel a part of the Above and Beyond Cancer family.
Gather all the kindling about your heart to create one spark.
I think on the trip I had time to just say, yeah, you did go through this, and you did have cancer.
That is all you need to nourish the flame that will cleanse the dark of its weight of festered fear.
I let go of some of the guilt, not all of the guilt.
A new confidence will come alive to urge you toward higher ground.
So I just wanted to do something that would make her proud.
Where your imagination will learn to engage difficulty as its most rewarding threshold. When we get the final group together that's going to go on this trip and get the whole roster, we always ask individuals to identify themselves as a cancer survivor or as a caregiver. And the label of cancer survivor versus caregiver quickly disappears once you're on the journey.
Everybody cheered everybody on, and everybody was a part of a team.
Yeah, I was thrilled with just the connection that did happen, and how people did support each other, and through the scary parts and the happy parts and the silly parts.
My cancer is just another part of my life. July of 2016, I was diagnosed with nasopharyngeal cancer.
We kind of all just understood. We all understood that something could happen, but could hope the best.
I really didn't have any idea how weak and how ill I would be. Michael was my caregiver. He got me what I needed, and he got me where I needed. And I'll be forever grateful for that. Michael loves to hike and trek. I was kind of thinking maybe Michael and I should go on the trip to Nepal.
She found out about it through Dr. Deming and kind of just looked at me and was like, "You like hiking, right?" She was like, "You want to go on this trip?" I was just sitting there like, "Yeah, I'm down. Let's do it."
I got to see my son in his element.
It was nice just hiking with her. It was just nice seeing her hiking with me. Like, I've hiked so many times, and it was just this one time I was like, "Oh, my mom's here." Like, I could hang out with her this time. It's crazy that she did it.
Day 5 of our trip, we camped on Tarodunga. So the next day was one of the most challenging before we do the Kora Mount Kailash.
The last day of trekking in Nepal, we went over the pass.
I just remember going single file, and Bakal was leading our group, and Pani, drink water, and stop, look around, and just looking at the beauty and the depth of if I miss a step. When I first heard that I was accepted to go, I was still walking with a walker and in a neck brace and not eating, and my husband was literally tucking me into bed, and I said, "You know, I got a call from Above and Beyond today, and I was accepted to go." And he said, "Oh my God, that's awesome." And I said, "I don't think I can do it." He goes, "Yeah, you can." And I said, "Look at me, I can't do this." He goes, "No, you can do it." And he took me in and left the room. Come on, people, look at me. Is there no sympathy here? I thought it was the worst timing, actually, to be, accepted to go on a journey. Maybe it was the best.
It was challenging for everybody, no matter the fitness level. But as a team, we motivate each other.
We got some internet after hiking through the Himalayas, and we were about to head into China. We were all looking at our phones and sending messages, and I get a message from Messenger, and it said, "Frank Bott is waving at you." Almost 8 years ago, my husband was diagnosed with a glioblastoma multiforme, which is a terminal brain cancer. It's got to be a sign, right? I'm on this trip because of him. I think I was a person who felt like cancer was always something that was happening to other people. I look back and it's frightening. At the moment, we enjoyed what we could and did what we needed to do. And he passed away in January 2013. I just think it's the human courage that says, I need to go forward. And I saw that in every single person on the trip.
So I first saw Mount Kailash on the afternoon when we were traveling to Lake Manasaravar.
This blue lake with that blue sky, and to think that we were camped at almost 15,000 feet was almost incomprehensible for me. I think the cancer spurred me to go on the trip. To be with other people that had been touched by this cancer journey. One of the things that I did, I brought some ashes of a friend that died of cancer, was moving to take those ashes with me on this trip and to spread them along Lake Manasaravar. The cancer for me, I didn't think about the past and I didn't think about the future, I just thought about today. I guess that's part of what I was drawn to the hike and why I'm drawn to hiking, because hiking does that to me. It puts me really in the present in a very powerful way.
The sound of those flags blowing in the wind.
The sun was beating down.
The prayer flag service was kind of the pinnacle for me.
It was by far the highlight of the trip as far as I was concerned. There's a lot of emotions that I didn't expect on this trip.
I was struck by the number of flags. I mean, we had a huge number of flags, more than I think any of us realized that we had.
And now, when we go on a journey, we have about 1,000 prayer flags that are made by individuals back at home, each one made in memory of someone who's died of cancer or in honor of someone who's still on their cancer journey but can't be with us.
Just kind of awestruck, like, these are such beautiful, wonderful people, and they're not here anymore.
In the thousands that we had, I mean, it was sad to see that so many people had a loved one that either passed or that had cancer and beat cancer.
I got to be one of the people that was the stringer. It was very powerful just to think about all these people's intentions that are there with you, you know, when you're holding them close to your heart. And I had a couple of Madonnas, you know, Jeffs that went through my fingers.
Madonna went through her cancer treatment. She was diagnosed in January of 2011 with breast cancer. You know, it's easy to get stuck on that journey when you lose a loved one, especially a spouse, kind of lose your way for a while, and I think that happened. Jo had a similar experience with losing her husband several years ago, and so we've been able to support each other and kind of learn and grow from it, and it is a new beginning.
It was early, it was dark, and it was a very long day.
I thought that was really cool, getting up in the dark and having our headlamps on. And
There's something about the day you're going to get to the highest point. We get up in the wee hours of the morning and start the hike way before sunrise so that we will make it to the high point after sunrise, still in the morning.
I don't know, it brings chills to me to still think about the excitement that everyone had, I think, to get there.
And there were maybe a half dozen false summits where you would come over a rock and you could see there it is. And you go over that rock, there it is again, another one.
And then I'm like, okay, so this isn't it? Okay. And we kept going, and then it's like,
Joe Kay and I were like, we made it, we're hugging and everything. And it's like, wait a minute, that was a false summit. Keep going, keep going, keep going. I've been climbing mountains for a long time. When I got back from the trip, I was scheduled for an MRI. Just kind of anticipating, yep, things are good. You know, I just hiked 103 miles through Nepal and Tibet. And he said, well, I think the chordoma has spread to the other side. And that was a blow. False summit, you know, you just pick up and you keep going and celebrate when you get through. If I beat this, great. If I don't, well, I lived every moment that I could like I wanted to, and it didn't define me.
For a New Beginning by John O'Donohue. In out-of-the-way places of the heart, where your thoughts never think to wander.
When people tell me they can't do something or they're scared of something, it just makes me so mad because we can do anything that we put our mind towards.
This beginning has been quietly forming, waiting until you were ready to emerge.
You don't have to do it all yourself. You don't have to be the only person.
For a long time, it's watched your desire, feeling the emptiness growing inside you, noticing how you willed yourself on, still unable to leave what you had outgrown.
We do take one step at a time. And it's curious to me how many more steps we could take.
It watched you play with the seduction of safety and the gray promises that sameness whispered, heard the waves of turmoil rise and relent, and wondered, would you always live like this?
It's beyond anything I ever would have imagined that I would have done, because this is so out of the box of who I was before, 2 years ago.
Then the delight when your courage kindled and out you stepped onto new ground, your eyes young again with energy and dream, a path of plenitude opening before you.
The soul of the trip was the people. I mean, the people that I hiked with during the day and got to know. And
though your destination is not yet clear, you can trust the promise of this opening.
The trip was an incredible reminder to me that every day is a new beginning.
Unfurl yourself into the grace of beginning that is at one with your life's desire.
I've said it, this is my close my eyes, open my heart, jump with 2 feet in. And you have to do that sometimes.
Awaken your spirit to adventure. Hold nothing back.
It's all going to be okay. Everything's going to be fine.
Learn to find ease in risk. Soon you will be home in a new rhythm.
There's not such a thing as quitting. And so you just keep going, one step at a time.
For your soul senses the world that awaits you.